So what I did is I broke down two things. I broke down, I think, why you need a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and then I did the first two chapters of this new course I'm going to make, which is, how to make a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So the two things. It's a new idea. I have a course about how to do in-house management and control the quality and just make your business run really well, which is a good course and it's served me well. I've been in this business since 2018 and, pumping along. I have a couple really, really good buys that I did. Which I talked about. The best one is Delray Beach. I bought Delray Beach in the beginning of COVID and it just, it appreciated like crazy. It's essentially doubled in value in a few years, in like 4 years. And the rents have gone up, and I switched it from long-term rental to short-term rental. So basically, just like blasted through it. Delray is an incredible location, so it's perfect for short-term rental because it's got a cute little town there, and then it also has the beach nearby, and it just has so much to do. It has boat slips, it has events, there's music. So it has a lot going for it, and that's kind of how Airbnb works. If you have a location, the house is part of it and the white glove service is part of it, but really the location is most of it. So if you have a good location, you may as well cash in on it. So that's been really good, and I've explained how to do that, and you can join that course, and learn how the in-house management is. But in the last 13 months or so, I've actually made more money from holding Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, which is essentially leveraged Bitcoin, than from the real estate. And I was able to buy real estate. I bought real estate. It's November right now. I bought real estate in not October. In I bought real estate in August. I bought a 5 unit, and I took my retirement account. I drained it. I left a little bit. I left 20%, but I drained the majority of it to pay the down payment, which was a little bit over 100,000. And since that time, it's all the way back. I remade all the cash, which is crazy. Like it's just insane. So I have the original cash, plus now I have the building, and we had to appraise the building after buying it, and the appraised value now is up 100,000. So in other words, I'm plus money on something I bought just a few months ago, which is really insane. So like essentially the cash on cash now is infinite. So, anything with an infinite return, fuck yeah. So I've basically learned that this Bitcoin strategy and this strategy is really important for real estate investors. And I feel like, I've been on Twitter, like looking stuff up a lot, X, looking stuff up a lot. And I noticed that the people who are into Bitcoin are not usually into real estate, and the people who are into real estate are not really into Bitcoin. But I don't understand why not to merge them. Like maybe I'm an idiot, maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think so because I've done really well in the last little bit. So assuming that this is a good idea, I'm going to explain how to do it. So if you want to just learn the in-house management stuff, go to the other course, Evil Landlord's Ultimate Guide to In-House Management. But if you want to learn the Bitcoin reserve strategy, stay right here, join this course, and I'm going to explain it to you. Okay? All right. I'm going to do a table of contents just so that we kind of know where we are. And then I did chapter one and two. I will do chapter one and two again, record it with sound, and try to remember that I need headphones in the future. All right, so I'm just going to look this up because my memory is dog shit and my ADHD is horrible. Actually, just a quick aside, since doing carnivore diet, my ADHD is actually a lot better, and also I'm able to recover. Like in other words, when I do something stupid like this and record all this for you without sound, I'm able to just go, I got good energy. Fuck it, let me do it again. Where I used to be like, woe is me, and just like give up. So that's this is the better me. I'm thinner, I'm healthier, I have more energy. I haven't eaten yet today, and it's 12 o'clock, 12:30. And I'm still look at this energy. Fuck yeah. So that's really cool. Okay, table of contents for using a Bitcoin strategic reserve for real estate. You're going to do these things to build as much Bitcoin as fast as possible. Okay. Chapter one, rent income into Bitcoin. Just assume into Bitcoin. Chapter one, rent income. Chapter two, cash flow management. Chapter three, reserves. Chapter four, security deposits. Chapter five, refinancing. Chapter 6, profit. Chapter 7, lines of credit. And chapter 8, credit card advances. Okay, so I'm going to go through these 8 chapters one by one, and hopefully this will give you a really good idea of what to do with your Bitcoin. So let's start with rent. Chapter 1, turning rent into Bitcoin. So essentially what you want to do is you want to have your tenants pay you in Bitcoin. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can do direct wallet to wallet. So you give your wallet ID and you have them send directly to your wallet. I use Treasure. I love it. I buy my Bitcoin in Swan and I send it to my wallet. I think cold storage is a must. I think, what's the expression? Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. I think you want to make sure you're hodling your Bitcoin yourself. So I think that's a key to use cold storage. I like Treasure. Nano X is good. There's others, there's a bunch of good ones. Just go on a Google search and you'll see a bunch of them. But going direct, having the rent paid directly to your wallet is pretty good, super secure, and immediately they're yours, so you're not going through any third party. The problem with this is that not everybody will be set up for this. Not everybody will even know how to do this. So what are your other options? You can use some kind of, third party. Like you can use BitPay, you could use Coinbase, you could use Cash App's pretty good. Cash App's probably best for real estate because I use a um, I use a payment portal to simplify things. So in other words, my tenants go on, they can pay by ACH, they can pay by credit card, and then the payment portal automatically, does all my ledger. It balances everything, it keeps track of everything, makes spreadsheets. So that's super, super helpful. But not everybody likes it. So sometimes people will say, "Hey, I don't like it. It's this, that, it's complicated, whatever. Can I pay you by Venmo or Zelle or Cash App?" So what I suggest is get them on Cash App and then use the Cash App. It's very easy to pay with Bitcoin. Use the Cash App through Bitcoin in Bitcoin, and that's a very, very simple. It's a very simple way to get that done, and I really recommend that. So cryptocurrency payment processor is a second way of doing it. The first way is direct wallet to wallet transfers. And then the third way, which is not going to be super, super common, and I don't think mine, I use apartments.com, the old cozy. I don't think mine does this, but use your property management software to collect Bitcoin. There's Appfolio, there's Propertyware, there's Buildium, which we use. I've used all of those that I just mentioned. Um, there's others. So some are going to be able to do that, some are not. I actually don't know which one is which. I'm not really up to date on them because I just use the one I use. I like to keep things simple. It's the KISS strategy. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm definitely stupid, as you can see from not wearing the headphones and recording this with no sound. So I have to make sure I keep that KISS strategy running. And I use apartments.com. So I don't know that you can receive Bitcoin that way. If anybody's like, fuck, you're wrong, just tell me in the comments. I don't mind being told I'm wrong, especially if it's useful. Anything you can add to this is great. I'm just trying to compile information essentially. So those are the 3 ways to do it. Wallet to wallet direct through one of the services or through your property management software. Now, there are a couple things to keep in mind, which is you need to keep records of everything, so make sure you do that. You need to make sure you're abiding by local laws, so check your state's laws. Should be good. This is common sense. You got to do that anyway. But definitely be careful with that. And there's volatility. Like the Bitcoin's moving all around. So maybe you're collecting not enough rent, maybe too much rent. So definitely the volatility is part of it. And if you're going to hold it, you need to hold it for a while so the volatility works in your favor, which could also be an issue if you do need to use the money quickly. Imagine it goes down just when you're needing to pay something, so that can be a problem. So keep the volatility in mind. One way to protect against the volatility is to already have some stacked or to have an operating account that has fiat in it in case you need to throw money at something. And then the last thing is tenant adoption. Just some of your tenants are not going to be comfortable with this. They're going to be older or they're going to think it's a scam. This is getting less frequent, but some people think Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. It's a scam. So if they're starting to, feel like if you feel like they're not really trusting you, you need to have trust. Like that's one of the keys to being a good landlord is, establishing trust that they feel like you're not trying to destroy them. Because in the relationship, you have the power and they don't. So you don't really want to throw that in their face. You want to show them that you like them, you care for them, you care for their well-being. So if you're starting to break trust with asking about Bitcoin, just back off. You need trust before you need Bitcoin. Trust, trust is going to earn you a lot more than Bitcoin is, to be honest. So, I mean, these soft skills go a long way. So don't push too hard. So if tenants are not really used to it and there's there's an adoption issue, just let it go. Okay. So those are my things for using Bitcoin Treasury for these are my things for collecting rent in Bitcoin and using rent to build your Bitcoin treasury. That said, I don't think rent is necessarily the best way. And there's two reasons for this, or two scenarios. One scenario is if you own the place free and clear, it might make more sense. But for me, where I'm heavily leveraged, most of my rent money is going to the mortgage, to the principal, the interest, the taxes, the insurance, the pity, and it's also going to the expenses, the energy company, the gas company, whatever, the lawn care, etc. So most of the money is going to that, and then I'm taking the little bit that's left over. So that's more a cash flow issue, which is some different chapter. I think it's chapter 2, which we'll get to in a moment. But the cash flow is a different story. How you do that is a little different. So if you're owning it free and clear, yeah, maybe you're collecting enough rent where you can just boom, leave it in Bitcoin. But if you're paying expenses in fiat. So you may as well collect that money in fiat, but rent is still an option. So here's chapter 1. It's a cool intro to how things are working in this scenario, but it's really not the best idea of the 8 ideas that I have. So which one is the best? You tell me. But that's chapter 1. Let's go ahead and move to chapter 2. Thank you for watching. Okay, chapter 2 is, if I remember right, cash flow. Okay. Chapter 2 of using Bitcoin as a strategic reserve for your real estate portfolio. Okay, so what are you trying to do here with the cash flow? So you've collected your rent in fiat and you've paid your mortgage, you paid your principal and interest, your taxes, your insurance, you've paid your electric bill and gas bill, water bill, whatever you have. And at the end of the month, you have a little bit left over. That's your cash flow. So what are you going to do with this cash flow? So what I recommend is you take this cash flow and you send it to Swan Bitcoin, and then you withdraw it into your cold storage and you hold it. I think that's the best thing you could do with your money. What that will do is that will allow you to start putting money aside, and you can hold your reserves that way, and you can hold the money that you would pay yourself that way, and then let it grow a little bit, and then pay yourself out of it. Or if you don't have to, don't. But let's assume that you do, like me, I have owner pay. So what I do is, and this comes from the Mike Michalowicz Profit First system. What I do, let's say I'm just using fiat as an example, is I put it in a different account and I hold it there and I let it grow after $1,000. The next time there's a quarter, so March, June, September, December, when we get to the end of the quarter, I split 50% of what's over $1,000. So let's say there's $2,000 in the account, I take 500. And I also split it with investors this way, right? So you've already paid your property management fee to yourself because you're doing in-house property management if you're following my system. Um, and if you don't know how to do that, go to the other course. But if you do know how to do that, you're going to pay yourself monthly. That's more in fiat because that's part of your just cycling, oil well of financial freedom. But then on the other side, you're going to take the money, you're going to put it into the profit folder, hold it in Bitcoin. You've got a ledger. It's my cat. You've got a ledger and you put how much you're going to put in Bitcoin. You need to keep track of everything on spreadsheets anyway, because you need to know how your business is running. You need to know your profit and loss, and you also need that for tax time, because you're going to do a Schedule E at the end of the year and, you know, build depreciation and stuff. The goal is to be an active real estate professional, right? And that's why short-term rental is so good because you get that status just boom out of the gate. But if you're doing long-term rentals, you can still do that. You just have to control your hours and stuff. But that allows you to save a lot on your taxes. And if you're a couple, have one of you with that, and then the other one can still have a W-2. That's the best way to structure that. That's a different question. And if you have questions, just put them in the comments or, sign up for a call. It's calendly.com/Kiaya, Chiaia, and just schedule a call with me. And, you can ask me any of this stuff and I'll answer it specific to you because obviously every situation's a little different. But basically, this idea is really good. You set the profit aside and you wait at least 3 months. If you can wait annually, it's better because especially with Bitcoin, you're going to have some serious growth over the course of a year. And your real estate's growing meanwhile, which is pretty cool. So you're growing on both sides. That's one of the huge benefits of this system is you're growing on the Bitcoin side and you're growing on the real estate side. And it tends to work that one is up and the other is down. So your Bitcoin's running or your real estate's running. And either which way, you got something to look forward to in the morning. You wake up and you're like, holy shit, fucking Bitcoin's flying. So you're excited when you wake up. But anyway, take the money, set it aside, let it grow. At the end of the quarter, you look at it and then you split it. And if you're with investors, this is where you're going to split to investors. And if you can do a year, it's better because basically in the last 12 months, if you invested at the dumbest time, the year over year return was 24%. If you invest at the best time, I believe the year over year was 150%. I was at 140%, and I just dollar cost average. So it's not like I invested at the best times. I did some of the best, some of the worst. So I try to keep it simple. So if you're making those kinds of returns, 25% at worst, let's say, is a good estimation for what's coming. I mean, you may as well hold it for the year and then split it. It makes more sense. You know what I mean? But at least quarterly, so you're getting a nice chunk of return on investment for setting the cash aside and always leave some of it. So, take 50% of it and leave some, let it keep stacking. Leave some, let it keep stacking. Leave some, let it keep stacking. And the idea is that the stack is getting bigger and bigger. So each quarter, each future quarter, you're actually splitting a little bit more because you've let it grow more and the stack is getting bigger. So your amount that you're receiving is bigger, but meanwhile, you're still saving 50% and you're letting the stack continue to grow. So it's a very smart way. And this is, like I said, it's not my idea. I'm just using the Mike Michalowicz Profit First system. If you want to learn more about it, buy the book Profit First or go to his website and check it out. He's got a course, he's got trainings, he'll talk with you directly. He's awesome, he's friendly, he's smart. It's a great system. But back to us, you're going to take your cash flow and you're going to move it into Bitcoin. So I'm using Swan Bitcoin. That's where you buy it. And then I'm setting it up with cold storage Treasure. And that's how I'm holding it. You don't have to do it this way. You can buy it on any exchange and you can send it to any wallet. You can hold it on the exchange. I just don't recommend it. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. I really think you need to hold it yourself. Hold your Bitcoin in a cold wallet. I like Treasure, but there's Nano X, there's Nano S, there's Ledger, there's I don't know, there's a bunch of them. I think I found it by just listening to Natalie Brunell, who's an awesome Bitcoin advocate, or just going into Google and typing in best cold wallet. Or I asked my nephew because my nephew is really good with this stuff. But anyway, doesn't matter, but you do want security. You know what I mean? So that's really important. And I believe that's everything about it. I'm just going to check my notes. I was just doing that before checking my notes. Do I have anything else to tell you? Just some final considerations that my notes have, which is you still have to worry about the volatility because it does go up and down. So that's another reason to hold it at least quarterly and ideally annually. I mean, even like for 2 years, because over those longer cuts of time, you're definitely getting the advantage of the upward runs. If you do it quickly, you could be caught in a down cycle. And that goes for your real estate too. Like, after 3 to 5 years, when you refinance, you're plus. But you could be in that cycle of like 2 years that worth the two years down. It does happen. But time heals all wounds with real estate and Bitcoin. So this is what's good about it. So definitely watch out for the volatility. And I told you before, keep track of everything. You need a ledger. You need it all in spreadsheets. If you need to see my spreadsheets, I have some great ones that you can use. Just ask me. But you definitely need to track your Bitcoin transactions. That way you comply with local tax regulations and, pay your capital gains and whatnot, unless that changes. But as of right now, and then you want security. So, that's why Ledger, Nano, Treasure, these are well known to be reputable and secure, and you want that security. You never want to share your seed phrase or anything. So, um, anyway, that's it. So I just made content twice because I did not have these fucking things on the first time. I had them on the floor and you could barely hear me. And you need to hear me. It's uh it's the whole point of this is to hear me. The whole point is to listen. So if you can't hear me, what the fuck is the point? But that's ADHD for you. I'm gonna go eat. It's like 12:30. I didn't eat breakfast yet. And I'm ready to eat something, enjoy myself a little bit. So one of the benefits of running my own business, which I don't know if I said in this video or the one that I forgot the sound, that's also hard doing it back to back because I don't remember what I said which. But this is still a good point, even if I'm repeating myself, is that I have flexibility. I can run, I have to work, a lot of hours, but I can play tennis in the morning. I can go see my kids. I can watch my son play tennis. I can go to my daughter's things. I can be on the ground playing, make believe animals with her, like whatever. So I have all this flexibility because I run my own business, and the wealth is growing in two ways essentially. And I think this is probably the key thing here is that you have on one end a little oil well, which is like your financial freedom. Like I have this operations business running, the property management, et cetera, and it makes enough money to pay the bills. I moved to Florida, I slashed my bills by about 60%. Ever since I did that, I'm financially free. And I am, but I'm not wealthy yet. I would like a bigger house. I'd like to go on more vacations. I'd like more experiences. I'd like to eat more expensive food. I'm a carnivore. I'd like to have more ribeyes, less bavette, whatever. I would like to take care of myself, and I'd also like to not worry about anything and to save for the future. So while I have the financial freedom little oil well running, I also have the Bitcoin stacking, just going up little by little. So what's happening is I'm able to, make my ends meet every month, pay all my bills, but meanwhile, the long term is starting to get better. And I think that's one of the real benefits of this is that while I have flexibility and freedom, I'm also building for the future. Because the real estate is getting more expensive, which means I can refinance down the road and take out some of that equity, which is tax free. And then the Bitcoin is getting more and more valuable. So I'm basically running it on two sides. And that's what's really exciting is to have a fully functioning business. And the last thing is when I take out money to put down a down payment on new real estate, what I'm able to do is I'm able to rebuild that stake really, really quickly. I bought something in August and I've already repaid my stake. And I spent a lot of money on it. Like I thought it would take years to pay back. And instead of it taking years to pay back, I paid it back in 3 months, which is crazy. I didn't see that coming, and obviously that's a little bit lucky, but you get lucky because you're making good decisions, and you'll get lucky somewhere. Either the real estate will appreciate really fast, or the Bitcoin will appreciate really fast, or the rents will go up, so you're making more cash flow. Like something's going to go your way because you're in it smart. You have a smart treasury reserve, you have reserves in general. Like some people don't have reserves. Roof breaks, what are you going to do? Here you have reserves. So now you fix the roof, place stays valuable. In fact, it even increases in value. When you refinance that money out. So you're able to constantly make your product better, keep your service tip top, which gets you better tenants, which means less turnover, which means more money. So this whole thing is a self-fulfilling prophecy of making a better business, making a stronger business, making more money. And that's the genius of it. So a Bitcoin strategic reserve is a must. This was chapter 2. I'm Evil Landlord. If you want to contact me, just let me know. Just reach out by comment or sign up for a call, or there's 100 ways to get me. You can text me, whatever. So you know, thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful, and I hope we all make a lot more money. It's been a really exciting time, and I'm really lucky, and that's why I'm trying to share it. A lot of people were gracious enough with me to sit down for lunch or, get on the phone with me. I had some Zoom calls where people explained how to syndicate. Like Just so there's so many ideas out there. So many people are helpful and have been helpful for me. So I want to pay it forward a little bit. I've always enjoyed coaching. I was a tennis coach years ago and I miss coaching. So this is really fun for me. So reach out with any questions. No questions stupid because honestly, even stupid questions are great because it gets you to focus on the right things. And stupid mistakes are great because you learn from them. It's instant feedback. This business is good that way. You survive feedback because when something goes wrong, it's such a good business and your position's smart that even if you buy too high or you leave money on the table, you'll survive it. And then you'll know for the future not to do that. So that's great about this business. It's very forgiving. I really like that about it. All right. Evil landlord out.